Yo, what's up? My name's Sheldon Santos, and I'm the creator of the Holy Scroll Bible app. I have it here on my iPad. This is it, giving you a quick demonstration. It's verse by verse scrolling. You see every verse of the Bible one by one to basically hit like that neuroscience, hit that dopamine in your mind where you're just on social media every day and you just want to scroll, 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 scroll. Well, guess what? Now you can scroll the Bible. So I am reading the entire Bible, scrolling the entire Bible off the Holy Scroll Bible app that I spent so much time building. I started in February, launched it around, I think it was like end of November, end of October timeframe. I spent so much time developing it, put it out around that time frame, and today here we are in January. I thought it just would make sense to I already read the Bible. I try to read the Bible excuse me, I read the Bible front to back every single year. And it just made sense to say, hey, look, well, the app that I made, how about I use it entirely or exclusively for my Bible reading this entire year? So that's my encouragement to you to read the entire Bible. So without further ado, I think we are in, where did we leave off yesterday? I'm going to check this real quick. I think we were in 28. I think we left off on 28. Actually, it could be 30, I think it was. So I'm putting all these videos online, documenting them for evidence, for proof. So people aren't like, oh man, you just said you were gonna read the entire Bible and stuff. Well, and you made all these videos and things. Well, guess what? I'm not a liar. Only the devil's a liar. And that is why I'm making all these videos, to give you the proof, give you the evidence that I'm actually doing this. Anyway, looks like we were on 30. So here we are, Holy Scroll, Genesis 30. Okay, we're 2 minutes in the video. We're going to start reading. Thanks for being here. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no son, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in God's stead who have withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Also, 16 minutes after January 12th. So this is like day 11 in it. January 12th now, 16 minutes after midnight. So yeah, just that's the proof, that's evidence. Anyway, and God's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I God's stead who have withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Okay, just read that one. And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son, and have said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had left bearing, and she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, a troop cometh. And she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, it is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. So, like I said, verse by verse scrolling, one by one. Here we are, Genesis 30:17. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. I like that name. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son. And she said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go into my own place, and to my country. Give me wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was a little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. And I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and all of such shall be my hire. And so shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day, and the he goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them in the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of the Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and the hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled 3 white strakes in them, and made the white appear with which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, and the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive, and when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought the forth cattle, ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown, and the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them nigh unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feeble was Laban's, and the stronger Jacob. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and menservants, and camels, and asses. Here we are, Genesis 31. And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was in your fathers, that all was our fathers, and of that which was our fathers hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and said, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return into the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered me not to hurt him. If he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, and all the cattle bear speckle. And if he has said thus, the ringstake shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ringstake. Thus God has taken away the cattle of your father, and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, I have lifted up mine eyes, and saw in a dream. And behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ringstake, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of the Lord spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ringstake, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth to me. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee from this land, and return to the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? And we counted of him strangers. Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob arose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his greeting which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled, and he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob, neither good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I may have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp, and hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. Is it in the power of my hand to do you hurt? But the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob, neither good or bad. And now thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house. Yet wherefore hast thou stolen my goods? And Jacob answered and said unto Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern, thou wouldest dine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidservants' tent, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my father that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, and hast thou found of all thy household stuff, set it before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I have brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it, and my hand didst thou require it. Whether stolen by day or stolen by night, this I was in the day of the drought. Consume me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I have served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me now away empty. God hath seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took up a stone and set up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap. And they did eat thereupon the heap. Laban called it Jegar Shada Utah. But Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. In Mizpah, for he said, The Lord watch between me and thee, when we are absent from one another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take otherwise beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said unto Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. And God of Abraham, and the God of Nahor, and the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned to his place. And there we are, chapter 32 in Genesis, reading off the Holy Scroll Bible app. Thanks for joining me today. Today is 12:32 a.m. on January 12th. So this was the 11th day in it, or 32 minutes after midnight. Yeah, praise God. A lot to digest. Today is Sunday, so I just want to encourage you to read your Bible. You have Holy Scroll, you have resources available. Physical Bible is still the best, but also don't forget to enjoy and spend time with God in prayer. I think that's most important. Spend a lot of day praying, and I think praying before reading just set my mind in a better environment. Take care. Good night.